You are Locked On Celtics Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, the Celtics open up a stretch where they're going to be playing an awful lot on the road with a victory against the Heat in Miami. And again, the Celtics avoid losing 3 in a row. Hey, losing 2 in a row, I should say, for a third time this season. Jrue Holiday, terrific. Derrick White, strong in the fourth quarter. Jayson Tatum, also helping the Celtics to the victory against Miami. With that, we welcome you to our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime college basketball play-by-play announcer, former show host, satellite radio, ESPN radio. Still to this day, cannot believe that Shaquille O'Neal played 37 games and started 36 games with the Celtics during the 2010-2011 NBA season. You're right where you need to be. You are locked on with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, providing reaction to every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Also available on the Locked On Celtics podcast feed, which you know is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. With our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, we're going to discuss Jaylen Brown being out of the game, Luke Kornet in the starting lineup. That's sort of a winning formula for the Celtics. Recently, we've seen Peyton Pritchard and Derrick White both go for 40 in the same game. We've seen Sam Hauser light it up in the third quarter recently in a game, and Jrue Holiday was solid. And a great performance by Jrue Holiday. Remember, he's been dealing with injuries. He's not going to be the team's leading scorer most nights, but he was terrific in the victory against the Miami Heat on Friday night. With the win, Celtics 48th win on the season, now 2 away from 50 on the year. That's going to be part of our numbers of the night. We want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Hit that comment button. Join the conversation. Give us your one random thought on the Celtics' victory against the Heat in Miami as they win the opener of what's a back-to-back in Miami and Saturday in Brooklyn against the Nets.
This is what you'll be talking about.
We're going to be talking about a terrific fourth quarter for the Celtics defensively against the Miami Heat. Now, Miami, with Friday's loss, they've now lost 6 in a row overall. They've lost 6 straight home games, but the Celtics did an outstanding job in the fourth quarter. Miami held to just 14 points total. Miami against the Celtics 0-3 this season. The points that they've put up against the Celtics this year, part of numbers of the night as well, coming up in segment number 2. But Miami just 5 of 20 from the field, 2 of 9 on the three-point line, and they also had, just 2 turnovers in that fourth quarter. But Derrick White was a big part of the fourth quarter for the Celtics. Now, the Celtics opened up the game up by 7 after the first 12 minutes, tied at 50 going into the locker room at the half. And for the 9th time this season, the Celtics 50 or less points at halftime. But Jrue Holiday was off to a terrific start for the game. Holiday got going early on. 10 points in the first quarter. In fact, he scored 10 of the Celtics' first 16 points in that first quarter. Holiday had 16 at the half. Tatum had 12 at the half. And the Celtics just 4 of 15 on threes in that second quarter, 6 of 24 overall from the field. They scored just 20 points in that second quarter. And again, they were tied at 50 apiece going to the third quarter. In the third, Celtics ended the third quarter up 1, 78-77. Holiday opened up the third quarter with a three-pointer. Tatum missed on a 3, trying to go for 2 for 1 in the final minute of the fourth quarter. Had a steal in transition, then went to the other way and ended up hitting on a bucket to give the Celtics that 1-point lead. Celtics knocked down 5 threes in that third quarter against against the Heat. Now, Derrick White through the first 3 quarters, 0 for 6 on the three-point line, knocked down a 3, his first of the game. Celtics up to 81-79 in the opening minutes of the fourth quarter. Kornet had a layup on a feed from Derrick White on the Celtics' next possession on the offensive end. At that point, up 4, White knocked down another 3 to make it 86-79. Celtics scoring 10 in a row at one point and kind of put the game away. Never trailed again at that point. Eric Reed, game on NBA TV. Eric Reed, terrific play-by-play announcer on the TV side, worked with former NBA player John Crotty on Friday night, said after White hit that second straight 3, Eric Reed saying Derrick White has inflicted pain in this building on the Heat before. Go back to last year's playoff series if you need a reference from that. Now, the Celtics Did miss I think it was 7 straight shots in that fourth quarter. Davion Mitchell made a 3 to make it a 4-point game, but then again, it was Derrick White knocking down a 3 to put the Celtics up by 7, his third of the quarter, and that made it 93-86. And then I'm going to go with this as what we call...
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Yeah, Al Horford had a bucket to put the Celtics up by 10. At that point, Miami just 9 points in the fourth quarter, opened up the fourth, 3 of 15 overall, 1 of 7 on the three-point line, and the Celtics again win 103-91, holding Miami to just 14 points in that fourth quarter. That was an impressive number for the Celtics on a night where they were without Jaylen Brown and they were without Kristaps Porzingis again for an 8th straight game. To your comments we go right here on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. The Real Darrell checking in first tonight. If you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit that comment button and join the conversation. Workman like to win tonight. The Real Darrell chiming in. Celtics got the job done, and that's where we're at right now. Late stages of the regular season. What? A month, less than a month now left in the regular season. This tonight, the first of 8 of 9 on the road, and you start off with a victory in Miami. You take a victory against Miami when they're reeling right now. And hey, they're dangerous. Don't let the Heat fool you. And Eric Reed, it was sort of tough to hear Eric Reed. Again, he's a terrific broadcaster, but Miami's played for one of the play-in spots. And Eric Reed, scoreboard watching, seeing what Atlanta's doing. Seeing what another team below 500 is doing. And that's where we're at in the NBA. The play-in tournament, that becomes big down the stretch. Do you really want to get in if you're that, 8, 9, 10 team? But that's what they're playing for right now. PK Tattoos. Was this the most boring game of the season, or is it just due to being late in the season? That's a good one, PK Tattoos. The Real Darrell offered up, workmanlike with the effort. And a lot of the Celtics games are that way, right? They've had blowout victories over the course of the season. Think about Jrue Holiday, a very, very good role player. He was one of your leading scorers on the night. Maybe that, it wasn't the two superstars. It wasn't Porzingis in there with Tatum. It wasn't Brown in there with Tatum. And the Celtics defensively got the job done. That's never all that exciting, although that, defense wins championships. That's been put on a T-shirt or two in the past. It was borderline PK Tattoos, but a game that's on the schedule and you've got to go in and win. Just imagine on the other side if somehow Miami ended a 5-game losing streak and a 5-game home losing streak and beat the Celtics. Celtics defense, imagine if they had Porzingis and Brown on the defensive end and at full strength. They may not even have been at full strength no matter what Friday, and they may not be at full strength again on Saturday. It's going to be very interesting to see how Joe Mazzulla rests starters the rest of the way. It's not locked up. There is a magic number, but you pretty much assume right now and think that the Celtics are going to be the number 2 seed in the East. So you can mix and match here, and what's great about the Celtics right now, the way they're playing, is, as I touched on in the open, the game that you saw where both Pritchard and White go for 40+. Hauser the other night needed those numbers, right? And then again, you avoid a second straight loss, and you avoid losing 2 in a row for the third time this season. That's big. Yes, you lose to Cleveland. Yes, you lose to Oklahoma City on the just completed homestand, but you need these victories the rest of the way. You don't want to be screaming on here talking about a loss to the Miami Heat. No, instead we're talking about a victory where they, again, a game, tied at the half, up 1 going to the fourth quarter. Did you blow them out of the gym? You won by 12, right? You got over the century mark. They did not. And Miami scored 14 points. That's, also where it comes into being a little bit boring. PK Tattoos, I think you have an argument. But overall, you have to have the as expected result with these games right now with the Celtics down the stretch. Just a handful of games left, the regular season schedule, and they're spread out. So you're going to have, you've got a back-to-back here, Miami and Brooklyn. Go beat the Nets. Same tomorrow night. Same on Saturday. Go beat the Nets. Take care of the Nets and go from there. So again, with the victory against Miami, Celtics avoid losing a second straight for the third time this season. That did not happen. They've won 6 of 7 overall. 2 more wins to get to 50. I think, 60 is going to be tough, right? Because, again, you're going to rest some guys, and, there's not that many more games on the schedule where you say, okay, let's win this one. You want to win them all, of course, but you also want to have guys ready to go for the opening round of the playoffs. 2 more wins to get to 50, 12 to get to 60, and 50 left. I don't know that 60 is going to happen. But now you're 3-0 against Miami. Heat will be in Boston on April 2nd. Miami just 8-24 now against teams with a 500 or better record. So again, you beat a Miami team. Do you blow them out of the gym? No. But you take care of business in the fourth quarter, and you'll take that. Miami, number 9 in the East. They're Miami Heat. Eric Reed said it. Looking to be in the play-in tournament for a third straight year. That's not Miami. It's just interesting. That's where the Miami Heat are right now. Numbers of the night involving the Heat, Jaylen Brown and Luke Cornett. When we continue, Steve Lennox with you. Locked On Celtics postcast. Celtics win 103-91 on the road in Miami. PK Tattoos wonders if it's the most boring game of the season for the Celtics. You can make an argument for it, but a win is a win, especially this time of the year. Keep the comments coming. And our Locked On Celtics postcast, Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. Hey, we are presented by FanDuel. March Madness is here. FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Again, that's $200 in bonus bets from FanDuel when you place your first $5 bet and win. Again, that's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down those nets. You might have your eye on, well, maybe a few underdogs this year. And FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. Staying in the action with tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something extra to bet on. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly, no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Locked On Celtics postcast, Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. If you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit the comment button and join the conversation. We are also presented by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go between dining out, online shopping, entertainment? Easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth as well. When you start using Monarch, you realize just how much we're spending on food delivery. Now you can budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off on your first year. Again, monarchmoney.com. So the Celtics victorious on the road in Miami. We gave you what you're going to be talking about with the Celtics holding Miami to just 14 points in that fourth quarter. Hey, right now, we're going to give you just a few more moments with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Hit that comment button and give us our player of the game. The real Darrell. Boston will get around 55 to 57 wins, and that's the number 2 seed in the East. I think you're looking about that. 15 to go. I want them healthy for a playoff run. Absolutely. Do you believe Miami regrets throwing away their chance at winning a championship with Jimmy Butler? That's talk radio right there. That's a 10-minute segment, The Real Darrell. For that relationship was due for a split for a long time. It really was. Player wants out of Miami. What Jimmy Butler ultimately wanted was a year extension beyond next year's guaranteed $48 to $50 million. He wanted that next year, not next season 25-26, but 26-27 guaranteed. Miami wasn't going to do it. Pat Riley wasn't going to do it. Remember the comments last year Riley made, pardon me, when Butler wasn't in there? Butler saying, if I were in there, we would have, Celtics wouldn't have gone on their run. If I was in there, this team, we would have gotten by this team, that team. And Riley basically said, if you're not on the floor, zip it. And that rankled the feathers. So I believe Pat Riley perhaps thinking Butler with a lot of wear on the tires, and he's done very well with the Golden State Warriors. I believe that he sets Miami up better going forward without Jimmy Butler than with Jimmy Butler. They've got some, I didn't finish my thought earlier, but they get back Andrew Wiggins. They've got Hero. They've got Duncan Robinson. They still have Bam Adebayo. They're not that far away from being a top 6 seed. But they're not going to get another big three. LeBron, Wade, and Chris Bosh down the, anytime soon. The NBA has sort of gone in the direction of not allowing that to happen again. What next superstar do they get to town? What next superstar do they develop, draft? I don't know. But I think financially, without Butler on the even for next year, and he got extended by Golden State. They gave him what he wanted. All of a sudden, he's a happy guy. So the Real Darrell, we're not going to know. I don't think they get anywhere close. I mean, they're in the play-in again. With or without Jimmy Butler, they likely we're going to be in the play-in, right? I don't know that they're number 6, a top 6 seed in the East. So I think Pat Riley is cut ties, understood it needed to happen, and they sort of move forward with that. So let's get into numbers of the night, all right? Because the Celtics are now 3-0 against the Miami Heat on the season. And with the 3 victories, Miami held to the 3 victories, plus 19, plus 18, plus 12, 1 by 12 on Friday night. But Miami has scored 89, 85, and 91 points in the 3 losses against the Celtics this season. They struggle to score. Now, Butler, going back to the Real Darrell, a guy who, when he's on and when he's 100% in and locked in, he can go after and get after you on both ends of the floor. That's what was disappointing for me, the fact that it played out the way it was, and he just wasn't in the starting lineup, whether it was his decision or the team's decision. And we lost out as fans. Celtics do win the game. 9th time this season they were held below 50, scored just above 50 in the second half. Now 9-3 with Jaylen Brown out of the starting lineup. Brown, I think, again, didn't have a great game against OKC, and he's a guy really down the stretch. I said it recently of the minutes are starting to go up towards playoff minutes. Is Jaylen Brown going to be able to play a couple of minutes more in terms of his average in the playoffs than the regular season? Is that knee going to hold up? Likely that knee, as we continue to talk about it, and it's an issue, a lot of these Celtics players are going to really have to, you go deep into June again this year. I'm not looking to next year yet, and there's still a lot of basketball to be played, and you're trying to defend an NBA title. But Holiday's missed games. These guys are like, there's probably off-season procedures, and then there's going to be the rehab, and then there's ramping up. And if you win a second straight NBA title, there's everything that goes into that as well. So it's all in right now for the Celtics to win a second straight, because Brown probably, on some level, I don't know what the severity of the injury is, but probably has to, have some sort of cleanup in there. Find out what the damage truly is. But the Celtics, again, I like the number, 9-3 without Jaylen Brown in the starting lineup. you might be without Jaylen Brown for a game or two in a playoff series. And that's why it's important. Guys like Holiday stepping up, Derrick White able to step up in a big way, Pritchard off the bench, Hauser, Cornette. Al Horford has been terrific with Porzingis out of the lineup. 9-9 for Horford Friday night in the victory. And speaking of Cornette, the Celtics are now 9-2 with Cornette. Actually, 10-2, pardon me, 10-2 now on the season. How about the starting lineup? Jrue, Derrick White, Horford, Cornette, Tatum. Second time this season that the Celtics have had that starting lineup. Joe Mazzulla used that starting lineup. Game 7 of the season, it was the second game of a back-to-back against Charlotte in Charlotte. And in that second game where Cornette was in the starting lineup up front with Horford, he went for 19 points, and Horford didn't score in that game against the Hornets, and that was a Celtics victory. Numbers of the night right there. What's ahead? Well, back on the plane, back up north. Celtics are 6-4 in the second game of a back-to-back on the season, and it's the second time this year where they're facing Brooklyn on game 2 of a back-to-back. Previous time, they won by 25 against the Nets in Brooklyn. And Brooklyn, hey, playing out the stretch. There's no other way to look at it. That's what Brooklyn is doing right now. The Real Darrell, one more. Appreciate you answering my question. Dude, the Real Darrell. We're boys at this point in time. Come on. Of course I'm going to answer your question. When I mention talk radio, it's just that I go on a diatribe and all of a sudden, down that road, getting off target. Derrick White was terrific in the fourth quarter for the Celtics. And if no one else is going to come in here with a player of the game with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, then guess what?
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
You know what? During that little production element right there, I changed my mind. Derrick White still, because of the fourth quarter that he had, and he knocked down 3 threes and had a 3, an assist on a bucket by Luke Cornette, then another 3, then a 3 later in the fourth quarter. Jrue Holiday scored 25. You know where I'm going right now? Co-players of the game. Holiday and White. Jayson Tatum did lead the team in scoring. Jayson Tatum most nights does lead the team in scoring. He had 28 points. How about this? Tatum had 5 turnovers, but this is how I'm going to word this sentence. Tatum had just 5 assists and 4 rebounds. Celtics had 41 rebounds total, and the leader in rebounds, Kata had 8, Horford had 9. And, look at Al Horford there. 9 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Again, those role players for the Celtics, they play a big role right now. Hey, this is what we've got going on, all right? Did this podcast a little bit on a sad note on this Friday night. PK Tattoos, Derrick White, Logo 3. Yeah, how about that one? At PK Tattoos, I'm going to split it. I gave it to both of them. So you and I are right there. Man, March Madness is here. So the Quinnipiac University women's basketball program, I cover them in the MAC, do their ESPN Plus games at home. My partner's Billy Mecca, Diane Nolan. If you don't know Billy Mecca, Diane Nolan, and their names, Google them. Look them up. Quinnipiac women won. They're in the championship against Fairfield on Saturday. I'm heading down to Atlantic City from Connecticut. I'm going to be in the stands rooting on the Bobcats to win a MAC title under head coach Trish Fabry on Saturday. Now, on the other side, this is the sad note. Quinnipiac men, number 1 seed for the second straight year, falling in the semifinals against Iona. Yeah, I'm giving you a scoreboard. I believe I'm going to be back in Connecticut. I believe I will be listening to Sean Grandy and Cedric Cornbread Maxwell on the broadcast on 98.5 The Sports Hub on Sirius XM. So likely there is a Locked On Locked On Celtics postcast Saturday. It's not going to be within minutes, but it might be within 30 minutes of the final buzzer of the Celtics and Nets. I hope you join us. I hope you're also with us on the podcast as well. We are hitting around 2,900, 3,000. Don't know what the average is, but we're 2,900 plus, hitting 3,000 on the Locked On Celtics podcast feed, and that is outstanding. We want to continue to grow that number as well. Celtics win, again, holding Miami under 100 points for the 3rd time this season. As always, we tip our cap to you for joining us as the Celtics win on the road in Miami, Saturday in Brooklyn against the Nets as they try to make it 2 wins in a row and 7 in their last 8. Tip our cap as well and acknowledge Monarch Money and FanDuel, our sponsors on our latest Locked On Celtics postcast as well. Supporting our sponsors is supporting us with Locked On. Don't forget, Locked On Sports Boston, number one place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports Boston, your team, your Celtics, every day.